Hey, nutraMetrix, how are you? Good morning. Jason and I have tried this now, I think 3 or 4 times, and so we're really excited this Friday to come to you and take over this news feed with an interesting combination, maybe not one that sounds natural to you. Why would the field consultant over here of Webcenters talk to, the field consultant of nutraMetrix? And let's just start though, Jason. You've been a nutraMetrix consultant. For how long have you been a nutraMetrix consultant, and what attracted you where you are the Webcenter guy?
Yeah, well, actually, getting some feedback. In 2004, I actually went to my first NC training. So the program was just launched, right? Just learning about nutraMetrix. And my background is as a personal trainer and weight management consultant. Really had a background from my athletic career, so it was a perfect fit. I was introduced to the business from isotonics, and then we were just getting ready with TLS and things like that. So it seemed like a perfect migration in an area of the business I want to focus in, which was great. But the thing that I loved was that it got me in front of professionals, and it was really the business to business. Kind of like the sales side of things that I was also doing, moving into that area of my career where I was starting to work in business development and sales and moving away from personal training. So that's what attracted me to nutraMetrix. But as I was going through that process, I was also involved in marketing and digital advertising and things like that. So that's where I kind of steered myself towards the Webcenter division, but I never lost sight of nutraMetrix. I've been through 3 different NC trainings. I'm still obviously part of the Facebook group, and I think there's a perfect fit here when you start talking about nutraMetrix, you start talking about Webcenters, you start even talking about some of the TLS professionals, you talk about salons with motives. The idea is that this is all about business to business solutions, so I think it's a great conversation that we can start having.
Yeah. We talk about like the model practice in nutraMetrix being a practice with 5,000 patients, maybe multiple practitioners, having a really great focus. But that's not always the case. I mean, I sometimes go in and I speak to the brand new out-of-school chiropractor. I speak to the massage therapist that's trying to build up a base. I mean, even I would say that in my area, and I'm sure you don't live that far away from me, Jason, but dentistry seems to have such a big advertising push. So I really like this together because I find for myself, when we're talking about how many patients do you see a week, what's your future look like, we can talk about ways to increase their patient base, which then sells more product. So, have you been successful in talking to businesses this way? And can you give us any tips on that?
Well, I think at the end of the day, every business wants more customers, more clients, more patients, right? So we're looking at digital marketing as a way to attract people. People are going on their phone, they're moving into a new area, they're going on Google, they're searching, I need a new dentist, or, I'm looking for a chiropractor. So if these, I call them solopreneurs, these small business owners are looking to attract new clients, they're going to have to use the internet. But once they bring in those patients, of course, then they've got programs like we can offer through nutraMetrix to further drive more revenue. And healthcare is healthcare, whether they're in the allied health professions or they're a dentist or they're a traditional medical professional. They're all facing the same challenge in terms of insurance reimbursements. They're declining insurance reimbursements, and they're looking at ways to kind of offset their expenses. So I think that it's the same conversation in a big picture is how can we get more revenue into their practice? Is it going to be through increasing their patient base, or is it going to be through adding on other revenue streams?
Yeah. And so let's go into that, because you guys have some tools that I really think that we need to copy, and you're doing more than just selling services now. I mean, we say, and I should probably change the nutraMetrix training, because before it was, you have B2C. So you have, whether it's a motives consultant selling makeup, or then you'll have a weight loss coach selling weight loss products or shakes or core. And then we said Webcenters, it was still a sale. It was you as a Webcenter professional selling to a business. But now with the Shopping Annuity and some of the tools, Could you speak to those, how now we're really with Webcenters doing more business consulting?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually something that I took away from the nutraMetrix consultant training, was the whole idea of going in and implementing programs for health professionals. And part of that is the consultation, right? Really identifying their needs. So doing the same thing from a marketing standpoint, web center owners are trained right now to just schedule a 10 to 15 minute consultation. And that probably sounds familiar with nutraMetrix, right? So we're going to go in and identify some needs. And certainly we're going to talk about marketing, advertising, their website, search engines, social media, and things like that. But all these practices also, like you mentioned, have expenses, right? They're spending money on office supplies, janitorial supplies, break room supplies. So we realize that through the Shopping Annuity, we also have something to talk about to every business owner. They may or may not be ready to make a decision on, say, a nutraMetrix program, or they might not be able to make a decision on a marketing program. But at the end of the day, they're all spending money. So we've got this great tool, and I actually have a copy of it here, and it's called the Web Solutions Business Spending Assessment. Okay, and these can be either purchased through unfranchise.com. You don't have to be a web center owner, it's just a product code. Or you can actually download them from our website, which is mawc411.com under downloads. And it's basically just a quick questionnaire, and it's front and back. Okay, and it asks them simple questions like, do you currently shop online? Are you using coupon codes? What makes the best decision? Searching for the best price. What types of stores do you shop at? Right? Where do you get your office supplies? Where do you get your equipment? Where do you buy materials? Where do you get coffee, snacks, groceries, travel, any printed materials? Do you purchase any flowers or gifts for the office? Any other industry-specific items? So when we have this, we can then schedule a time to go back in and go through our shop.com, and maybe it's the office manager, maybe it's the controller or the person doing the purchasing, or maybe in a small practice, maybe it's the business owner. But we're going to help them find out, is it Staples? Is it Staples Print and Copy? Is it Travelocity? Is it Jet? Is it Box? Where can we help them save money and just getting cash back, right? 2 to 10% cash back alone is going to open the door for them to realize that you're helping their practice, right? They're helping their business. So that might be a first conversation to let them know that, hey, we want to do whatever we can to help you save some of that money. And it just keeps that relationship going, where then we're talking about saving money on their expenses, but now also let's also talk about increasing income on the other side. What are some things that we can do, whether marketing or other programs?
That's so smart. And we have a question in our discovery meeting, which is, would you like to save money on office supplies? And so then we need to then go and use this tool that you have and take it back into the office to say, let's just go through this questionnaire, and then I'll show you how we can save money. We know exactly what they're purchasing. Mind blown. I need to my whole training. Where can we learn how to do this? Is there a particular training that Web Center is teaching on how to go through it and make the transition, or where can we find more out about that form?
Yeah, so this is a pretty, let's see, it's about a year old, this form. We have other ones based on marketing, digital advertising and marketing, website management. So these are all based on tools that we provide Web Center owners with, but it could be for anyone in any division. Like I said, you don't have to be a Web Center owner. I would highly recommend having a Web Center owner in your organization, certainly if you're already out talking to health professionals. But it's almost like the home shopping checklist, right? There's really not a training necessary, because you're literally just going to ask them the questions and fill it out. The biggest thing is booking a follow-up, right? Scheduling a follow-up. Hey, based on what you said, I think we can save you some money. I'm going to go back and do some research. What I'd like to come back in and do is maybe come in for another 10 minutes or so, go over, the products and services that you need right now, show you where you can save some money, and then you do like a shop.com tour with whoever's doing the purchasing. Set them up as a preferred customer and go from there. It may or may not be the health professional at that point, but the idea is that the tool guides you. You just have to make sure that you schedule a follow-up. We are running the consult to close contest through Webcenters right now, which is on mawc411.com. And each Monday night, we're doing a topic. We're doing a webinar. This Monday, we're actually focusing on service-based businesses, which does include health professionals. So we're going to talk about marketing. And all the webinars that we do each week are recorded and are archived right there on that site. So you could go next week after we have the service-based businesses and go on and go to mawc401.com, go to consult to close, click on webinars, and you can get some more information on the marketing side of what we do. But part of that also is the business spending assessment. And we also have to remember, what about merchant services, right? They're all taking credit cards. So we've got an opportunity with iTransact. We've got shop.com. We've got Shop Local. So there's a lot of things that we can do for business owners.
Yeah. Yeah, customer share is super important. And then even thinking about, the office's customer share, their referrals, their customer share, and it just goes, and we keep gathering data from all of our customers to come out with new products, new services that help fund the shopping annuity. So, each appointment is so important. We talk, though, you and I, we talked before about, because we are business to business and we both are consulting, with what we do, the buck stops with usually the provider. My goal is to get to the provider, because that's the person that's giving the recommendations, saying, I think it's important for you to go on this product because. But, I don't always walk into an office and get to say, hello, provider, let's sit down and have a meeting. And so I do have to go around and around. But tell me a little bit with Webcenters and some of the other services, especially in a health provider's office, what are you finding? Who is the decision maker? Who should we be talking to, whether it's web services or some of our other, shop.com products that we have? How are you going about getting past the gatekeeper and getting to the right person?
Well, it's interesting because we still have to work with the decision maker, the person who's going to spend the money and authorize the sale. So if they're going to make a change in their website or a search engine or social media, there still has to be the decision maker that's going to kind of authorize that sale. However, especially with the business spending assessment, someone that might not be authorized to spend or make decisions on large purchases, they're still making decisions without authorization on small purchases. We ran out of ink and toner. We ran out of paper. We are buying coffee for the break room. They're not going to need to go get the decision maker to authorize that sale. So I think the spending assessment might be an easy way to start building a relationship, to show them that there's a lot of value in what we provide. In addition to that, if we do have someone that we can talk to, we're looking for someone who can make marketing decisions. And in some cases, the decision maker might not be in the initial discovery meeting, because we're just going to gather as much information as possible. And sometimes those individuals are going to share more information that can help build our case, and we can build an ally, someone inside that practice, inside that business, to help us get to the decision maker to help sell our case, which is very different than in, say, nutraMetrix, where you really do need to get to the provider because they're the one making the actual recommendation on someone's health. So there can be some other influencers that we can have a bigger discussion with on our side versus trying to get to the health professional in your case.
I think the more that we sell to one person, the more touch points you have. And that's where it's nice too. I like to brand myself as a consultant in healthcare. But I love when there's guys like you on my team, so I can say it's not something I specialize in, but I can have Jason come in like a referral. They don't always understand so much that we work together as closely as we do, but we can give each other insight in a different way than when I just refer a web guy or I refer, a office supply guy. And so we're all working together, which is really cool, and building that relationship. And so where, things might fall off with nutraMetrix, we might increase with social media presence, and we're still in that office. Or, it might fall off with social media, but we get in with coffee and toner and shop.com, and so you're still in. It gives you another reason to follow up. It gives you another touch point. And then we can go together. So it might be you have another appointment to go in because you're going to brush up their website, but you bring me back in 6 months later to say, you guys remember Sarah? Well, she has some new things, while I'm here. Give her a second, and we can bring each other into this. So I think that's where we truly are a consultant. I think that gets past a lot of the, is it one of those things? Is it, I don't want another business. And you're like, No, you have no idea. I don't know where this is going to go. And like you said, Jason, I mean, I don't know if anyone's heard from Matt Samusian, who's the iTransact guy, but he's shown some crazy numbers with health practices that change over their credit card processing. And the BV that just gets injected, that alone, I'd love to have just one of those on my left and one of those on my right when it comes to that. And I'll take it from there, and then I'll work on, a multivitamin or a calcium or something really simple from there. But we just have a lot of things. But I think when we think about our teams, it's nice to diversify. Like, I want to find people like Jason on my team, and I think Jason wants to find people like me so we can continue to refer one another. So can you speak a little bit to that teamwork and how you've seen it work best?
Well, I think that's it's a very important point to make, because if you go in and try and talk about everything, you actually lose a little credibility. I mean, you can be a consultant and then refer the right person to come in, or right service or program to follow up with. But if you go in and you're like, well, I'm going to sell you coffee, go through my shop.com. Oh, by the way, we've got a health professional program, and we've got a weight loss program, and I can do your website. No one can be, the jack of all trades, right? They say jack of all, master of none. So when you work in teams, the referral gets built even stronger. And again, what are we after? We're looking to build value. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. So if we can continue that relationship, like you said, with as many people, as many touch points in that office, and schedule a follow-up with the right person to help make their life better, change their life, make their job easier, build value, build relationships, this can really expand into a lot of things. But you don't want to be the person that's going in trying to control everything, because you're probably going to get nowhere. Right. So I think on our side, for web center owners, we should also be asking in our intake forms, when we're talking about spending, we should also be talking about revenue. Do you have other options of bringing in other revenue streams? And if so, can I bring someone else in that might be able to help you? Same thing if we go into a salon, maybe they're looking for additional revenue streams. If we're going into a dental practice or anything, it should be part of our consultation as well, because at the end of the day, we're just looking to help these businesses thrive.
Yeah, and it's nice to diversify, because you never know. I mean, you're going to hear from Dr. Sam Shacken, for everyone who's going to the annual convention. Dr. Sam Shacken is a plastic surgeon in upstate New York, and Dr. Shacken's wife owns a salon. So someone needed to be knowledgeable on motives and some of our personal care in order to land that relationship. Otherwise, if there is no one, you're not going to be able to work together. I mean, Jane Chen, she's commenting here that Dr. Murphy just bought a website and signed up with iTransact. And I think a lot of times, too, a lot of our successful nutraMetrix consultants, it was interesting, I work with the Hamels, Claire and Jack Hamill, and I think you do too, Jason, because they were just Web Center Challenge winners at convention.
Yep.
And I remember talking to Claire and Jack, and I'm like, you guys are so close. I know you've done so much. And they're like, well, in these last couple of weeks, we're actually closer with Web Centers, so we're going to gun for that, this year, where last year they won with us. And so, they're always kind of going back and forth. And I think that's a true professional and a true consultant. And it is absolutely okay, if you take a season and you want to play a little bit more with Web Centers, and you take a season and you want to play a little bit more with nutraMetrix, and have a different focus, and diversify your team, diversify your portfolio with all the different products and services is really smart. I mean, we think of like Sue Galad. She is very knowledgeable in both. She has a very strong nutraMetrix team, but is a consistent Web Center Challenge winner. I mean, can you think of any other examples that I'm missing, Jason?
I think she's a perfect example, because she doesn't have to be the technician, but she's always referring back to our team at MA Web Centers as the professionals. So I think the fear is, a lot of people say, well, I've learned so much and I've educated myself on health and wellness and nutraMetrix and TLS. How do I now become this technical person and learn about technology? But it really is just the relationship, and you leverage the teams of professionals that MA Web Centers have for you. And if you just ask the questions, you can point them in the right direction. So you don't need to know a lot about really the products and services. You need to know just enough to set the appointment with the professional. And I think that's a great thing.
Just enough to make you dangerous is what I say.
That's right.
Tell me a little bit, because we haven't released our 2018 schedule yet, and I do think that there's there's a few web center trainings that could be beneficial, just because they are B2B in a consulting realm, that could be helpful to our consultants. I just told someone on my team this morning who's interested in maybe nutraMetrix and wants to get on the ground running, and I said, you should really look at Jason's next web center training, because I think it could help you just start to get into some businesses. So what are the different trainings, and what do you have coming up next, Jason?
Yep, great. So we've got the Web Center Training 101 and 201. So 101 is really just an introduction to who we are, what we do, and really how to be that consultant. The 201 is an advanced selling training, but I would recommend anyone go to the 101 course, right? So we've got some online webinars to give you more information about Web Centers, and that we do on the second Tuesday of every month. We do a live Web Center owner overview. It talks about what it is to be a Web Center owner. But the Web Center training, WCT 101, if you're going to your GMTSS, is where you'll get the most out of your kind of training as a consultant, what we offer, and how to schedule appointments with those teams of professionals. So I know here locally, I'm actually doing a 101 in Natick, Massachusetts on October 19th. I've got a follow-up to that in December with a 201 class. We also have in Rochester on November 4th doing a WCT 101 and 201. And then certainly 2018 we'll be scheduling some more. But we've got great trainers all across the country. I know is doing some trainings coming up in New Jersey. I know Shwen Lim just finished a training that she did out in San Diego. I know Chip Emily also just finished one in Maryland. But just go to your GMTSS, find out a local training, and if there's not one listed in your area, if you go to mawc401.com under Learn, there's a form that says I'd like to get a Web Center training in my area, and we can try and schedule some trainers to go out to that area to conduct some of these trainings. I think one of the most important things people can do is actually log on to our Consult to Close contest, which you can do on our site as well. And we've got a weekly webinar on Monday nights, and those are all recorded as well.
I see Russell Polo sometimes post after his, where they've made so many appointments and they've made so many phone calls. Which is the training where you actually make phone calls live in the training?
Yeah, so part of the 201 class, we actually do a call workshop. So you bring in your list of possibilities and we help you make calls. So that's in the advanced selling, but we do some other workshops in the 101 class as well. Russell and Trista are incredible in the New York area. I know they do a lot of trainings in New York and Connecticut, so we can certainly look at when their next trainings are. I know they've done some on Meet On as well for some of the areas of the country we don't have trainers, but it's like anything, right? It's about attitude, activity, and skill, and really taking action, right? Take what you learn and take immediate action. And in that environment, it's safe. We're there where trainers are there. You've got other peers there where you can actually work through some of this, just like a moving up seminar. And I think that's important because a lot of people can learn everything, but if they just sit at home and don't take action, it was kind of not worth it. Right.
And I appreciate Jane Chen who's been giving us feedback throughout this whole broadcast. And if you're watching the replay, let us know, are you also a Web Center owner? How have you diversified your portfolio in Market America with Web Centers? Did you know about that tool, the assessment? How are you going to use that tool now that you know about it? I mean, we love this kind of feedback. We would love to hear more success stories, and we would love to, have Jason back in a couple months and let's follow up and do even a little bit more of an advanced, now that I gave you the introduction, you guys have some tools. Let's get some questions and some dialogue going so we can continue to work together, because that's our goal, is really, to continue to sell the shopping annuity, to sell Market America and nutraMetrix, Web Centers, the brand, the products, and to support you with what you need in the field. But you're right, it's not about just listening to us and being here. It's about then taking the action. And so that's what, we want you guys to do. That's what these frequently asked questioning Fridays are about, are just ways, I have a lot of questions. How do you bring up shopping annuity? And so, this is, with Jason, an easy way that he shows you how to bring up the shopping annuity, how to, marry these two divisions together. So any closing thoughts, Jason, before we sign off?
No, I think it's been great. Thank you for having me on, and I welcome anyone to reach out and get connected with the Web Center division as well. We've got our own Facebook channels and Facebook groups, but if you have any questions, you can email me directly at jasonp@marketamerica.com. I'd be more than happy to help anyone kind of figure out how to marry these two divisions together, because I think there's a lot of opportunity for all of us to work together.
Super generous of you, Jason. I'm going to put your email address up here on the screen, jasonp@marketamerica.com. Take advantage of that, guys, because he really is a professional with what he's doing. And I know we can do a lot. There's a ton of BV in Webcenters and some really nice retail profits. So you guys know my husband specializes in it. So I love it.
They do a great job. Yep, they do a great job. So we're fortunate to have you through nutraMetrix, and looking forward to continuing this relationship.
Thank you so much. Have a great Friday. Have a good weekend, everyone. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.